Hi, today we will see in details the pressure sensor and the electronic board associated. I have done the complete reverse engineering of this board. Two coaxial cables are connected to that board. One is here, this is the power supply. The second one is the output, and the input is obviously the static pressure, which is connected to this tube here. The range is limited to plus or minus 0.3 psi, so this corresponds to a pressure of plus or minus 20 millibars approximately. The equivalent altitude is approximately 500 feet, so I don't know the exact reason of the measurement of the static pressure, but I think it is used to correct the sensitivity probably of the magnetometer. As we will see, the correction is not performed on the device itself, but the pressure is transmitted to the output signal. So first, let's have a look on the schematic of that board. This is a complete schematic of the pressure sensor board. The sensor itself is here. The sensor is actually a bridge. The values of these resistors change a little bit depending on the pressure. The bridge is supplied with an AC signal. This is actually a square signal. We can see that we have a constant current source here, so this is a sink current. The current depends on the voltage reference here, and these resistors, these two diodes permit temperature compensation of the Darlington transistor here. We can see that there are also two Darlington here. So these transistors are used as a switch. You can see that this base on this one is connected to a constant voltage, which is VG. This is a virtual ground actually. The base of the second one is connected to the output of this op-amp. So when the voltage here is at high level, this transistor is on. This one is off because the emitter voltage here will be above this voltage. In that case, the sink current is applied to this point of the bridge. The other transistor is off, but this point is connected to the power supply through these resistors. If the voltage here is at low level, this transistor is off, this one is on. In that case, the current is applied to this terminal, and the second one is connected to the power supply here through these resistors, which are identical to these ones. So across these 2 points there is a square signal. The output of the bridge is fed to this amplifier. I didn't find anything regarding this part number. The gain is 100. It is a ratio between this resistor and this one. These are these resistors here. The output of the amplifier is fed to another amplifier. This is a discrete amplifier. The gain is defined by the ratio of these two resistors divided by 2, so the gain is approximately 20. The output of this amplifier is fed to another circuit, so this is actually a bandpass filter. It is difficult to see like that, but it is a bandpass filter. So there is a square wave on that point. So this is the big capacitor we can see here. So this is maybe a mica capacitor. The output actually is a sine signal. It is fed to this switch, so this permits to alternate the current from one point to another one of the bridge. So this permits the oscillation of that system, and the oscillation frequency actually depends on the pressure applied. So at the output here there is a sine signal, so there is another filter and an adjustment of the amplitude. So now we can test this system. This is a test setup for the measurement of the output frequency. So we can see on the oscilloscope the signal which is present at the output of this device, this signal here. I have connected the pressure input to this manual pump. You can see the tube here. Currently the pressure is 0, so we can see that there is a frequency of 5.46 kHz for 0. So let's decrease the pressure. So you can see the change of the frequency. Currently the pressure is minus 20 millibars. It is normally the maximum range of the sensor. Okay, the pressure is indicated on the manometer integrated to this pump. So for minus 20 millibars, there is a change of the pressure here. Okay, for minus 20 millibars, the frequency is 5.1 kilohertz. The change of frequency is not very high, about 300 hertz. The signal is fed to board A5. This is the first schematic of that board. So the signal is fed to this point, R. And as you can see, this is the summing point. This op-amp is used as a buffer. So at the output, there is an image of the sum of three inputs. So we can see that the first input is the pressure, about 5 kHz. And obviously, among the two other inputs, we should have the Larmor frequency, and on the other signal, we should find the sweep frequency. I have found a document. This is this document from I3E transactions. You can see the reference of this document. There are only 6 pages, I think, and it is written: in order to have an accurate measurement, it is better to measure the output frequency using the sweep frequency, and it is said that the sweep frequency is also provided at the output. Okay, it is written here. The 430 Hz modulation signal is accessible externally on the ASQ81. So this frequency is low, 430 Hz. So the output of the buffer here is fed to another board, which is this one here. And we can see on that board that the signal is fed to this, and the output of the buffer is fed actually to the output signal. So this is the signal which is fed to the aircraft. So obviously, at the output of this system, there is a sum of 3 different signals which are present on these 3 lines. So there is a sweep frequency signal. So this is effectively the pressure signal, and the last one is obviously the Larmor frequency, which is frequency modulated a little bit. The separation is performed by the frequency itself, because one is at 430 Hz, second one is at 5 kHz, and the last one, the Larmor frequency, is between 600 kHz and 2.2 MHz. So in the computer box, which is connected to this device, we should find at the input different filters in order to isolate each signal. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.